cards that fate has dealt us. So we have the tools. It's one of the surest ways, especially traditional media, to talk to the mass. It doesn't. So sometimes there's always the problem, and advertisers always have that problem in terms of, especially in developing countries, juxtaposition between spend and actual outcome. You know, because we have, in developing countries, we have a problem with measurements. So it's sometimes a bit difficult to ascertain to a specific certainty without a margin of error. There are ways we have gone around it, and so we are able to at least say, give or take, there's a margin of error. So there is value in what media has been doing within the industry. However, in some cases, the spend, some of us feel within the industry that the spend, media spend, could probably be, what's the word now? We probably need a more scientific approach to how the spend is arrived at, you know, so that we can actually get even more value than what we are getting now.
So if we're looking at digital advertising now, that's another thing with new affection for that. What would you say, is this a realization of the failure of traditional and conventional media? What do you say? What do you make of this?
No, so I don't think of it as failure of conventional media or traditional media. No, digital advertising has come to stay because the world has moved on. The world has moved on. Technology has made it possible, and you cannot. You have to change with times. So even the traditional media are all seeing the need to have their digital presence. This is Marketing Edge on TV. There's a digital presence, I'm almost certain. People are reading newspapers more online than they're actually reading the physical print. TV stations have also carried their digital presence, and then there's just a multitude, a plethora of content, and that's what the digital presence is actually doing. It's giving people more content than they can actually ever consume. You know, traditional media, and again, traditional media was probably a bit more expensive to be able to push that, and this is somewhat cheaper, even in terms of generating content. So that's just it. It's the future. We just have to move with it.
But you don't see it replacing traditional media, conventional media?
Not. I don't see it replacing. I would see it as improving. So traditional media is going to change. What it's going to change into, I'm not sure yet, but it is going to change because people are moving from just having one station, two stations, where they can have a multitude of content everywhere. You can't even keep up anymore. So people are actually, so it's going to change. So you find radio stations now have their own online stations. You find newspapers have that. So it's going to change. Even in terms of, you'll be surprised, even in terms of out of home. They would use certain technologies that would make it possible to be able to identify maybe so, and they'll be able to communicate with your device as you pass a particular board and all that. All that is going to change. So I don't see it. It will evolve, but it won't die.
I love that. Now let's now describe the unfolding dislike of major ad spends for offensive social media posts, especially when their brands are featured.
The problem is not so terrible here in Nigeria. It's actually a global It's actually a global problem. At the last, I think it was one of the things that the World Federation of Advertisers are looking into, in terms of, having because of what, especially when you're using programmatic, you say, okay, they are following the people where they are going to, but they don't put enough restrictions to ensure that maybe the content doesn't get to a site where, for example, an alcohol brand should not get to a site where children would get into, and so on and so forth. It has been a problem. It has happened to a lot of us. So luckily, some of the social media companies are waking up to their responsibilities and they are putting tighter restrictions, but it behoves on us to ensure that we let the partners or the media partners that we work with know we don't want this, because sometimes it's very annoying or alarming whereby you see a very offensive post and then you see your brand, because it's killing your brand equity. So it's something that they're working on. It's a global problem. It's not just a problem in Nigeria, but with stricter restrictions and regulations, we should be able to curb that.
Now, as a media specialist, let's take a look. Let's look at Nigeria's media markets. What's your assessment? What you've seen over the years and where we are at the moment?
Fragmentation. There is now. So you see, radio, for example, has become, and it has its positives and its negatives. Radio has become quite fragmented. There are quite a number of radio stations. In Lagos alone, you probably have like, I think there are over 15 radio stations in Lagos alone. So what it means for us as planners is that we have to be more targeted, and we have to ensure. So now we are not looking at the stations when you want to buy media. We are now looking at programs. We are now looking at where the spikes are, what people are listening to, watching at a particular point in time, and we're going and we're following them there. That's the basic thrust of it. So the media industry in Nigeria over the years has really developed. Before we were just analog. Now, at least radio-wise, there are quite a number of digital stations. Hopefully, when the switchover is completed and we are fully a digitalized country, maybe things would even improve further. So I think that there's hope, there's still growth available in the industry, regardless of the fact that there's still the digital space is growing as quickly also.
This fragmentation that you've identified, is it on the positive side, disadvantage or an advantage to brand owners?
Both. A little bit of both. It means that if you want to talk to women, you know where to go to. You don't necessarily need to spread your tentacles so wide. But again, it also means that you have to be careful how you use your resources, because you can't spread yourself so thin. Yeah. So you need to find that balance. Okay, if you want to talk to XYZ group of people, you look for the widest range and you look at it. You can't be everywhere. So if you try to ensure that you balance out where your audience is going, what they are listening to, and you go with those content, it helps you to be a bit more targeted rather than being so wide. So it has its advantages and disadvantages.
Almost on the final note now, how are Nigerian brands bracing up for the challenge, particularly with regards to the unregulated and uncontrolled social media content? I know we touched on that earlier, but how are they bracing up, Nigerian brands, for this challenge?
Well, I think the first thing is that it's unregulated, so it's almost difficult. It's almost difficult to be everywhere. But as a brand, you can decide. You can have your charter. You can say, I would only be seen here, here, and here, because these are the things that are in line or in sync with my brand values, with my brand ethos. I would not every influencer is good for your brand. They may have a lot of followers, they may actually be trending, and not every trending topic is best for your brand to jump on. So you need that, and that goes back to the point we made about your identity, who you are, what you stand for, what kind of person. If your brand is a person, who would that person be? So that's the question you should always ask yourself. And once you identify that, you are able to say, okay, put together some sort of restrictions and say, I will do this online. I will not do this. I will not go here. This kind of influencer is not the type of influencer that would push my brand values or my brand ethos for me, because we are not in sync, even though that influencer may have a high followership.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Gerald Osugo. Thank you very much for your time on Marketing Edge on TV. Well, that's it for this segment of the show. Join me on the other side as we round up the program.
It's finally here. It's glitz, glamour, and a celebration of creative excellence at the 2019 Marketing Edge Brand and Advertising Excellence Awards. Celebrating the best innovative minds in the marketing industry. The theme for this year's all-important event is storytelling as a new paradigm shift in contemporary brand building, convergence of creativity and technology. This event holds on June 26, 2019 at the Balmoral Event Center, Oregon, starting at 10 a.m. prompt.
Keynote speaker, Professor Sir Chris Ogbeche, Senior Faculty Officer, Lagos Business School and Fellow APCON.
Chairman of the day, Mr. George Top, Managing Partner, Marketplace.
Who should attend? Corporate CEOs, professionals in the public relations, marketing, advertising, and the entire integrated marketing communications sector.
The final deadline for awards entry submission is 10th June 2019.
For participation, advertising, and inquiries, please call 0802-324-3054 or email us at info@marketingedge.com.ng. You can also visit our website, marketingedge.com.ng.
Marketing Edge, promoting the brand idea.
That's our show. Thank you very much for watching Marketing Edge on TV this week. Join us again next week for a fresh edition. Bye for now.
This is the Central Bank of Nigeria, the apex monetary authority. Be up to speed on the activities of the central bank in its efforts at growing the economy and stabilizing the naira. Watch from the CBN.
Every moment, every issue, every place, every minute. We are first with breaking news.